Here we are, James. Oh,
Here we are.
yeah. I see you know how to light a fire then. Why am I talking Scottish? I don't know. The whiskey choice for this topic, it should be a Canadian.
If it's
whiskey.
not right, Waddy, we're nae talking.
It should be Canadian, but you know, that's an obvious one. And I thought we should have the Scotch because you're Scotch. I thought I would choose a Canadian or American bourbon because they need all the help they can get.
That makes perfect sense, Kevin.
While I'm getting this open, you tell everybody why we're here.
Well, the Canadian Canoe Museum is aware that it's the sesquicentennial. It's our 20th birthday this year, and we wanted to get out there to celebrate the canoe, not only just as a vessel that got us to where we are in history, but as a vessel, an idea to take the country forward as well. So we're paddling from Kingston to Ottawa to take greetings to a big conference of people from all across Canada.
So when you say we though, who's we? Like,
the Canadian Canoe Museum with a boatload of friends.
Like a big boat?
16, our Montreal canoe that we have.
Where are you
here.
taking the portion canoe? Are you going to portage this or?
Yeah.
Well, who thought of this idea? I mean, you leave on the 2nd of May. That's
Yep.
yeah. That's
Who
early.
thought of this idea? We have a board member called Bill Lockington, who is also on the board of Community Foundations of Canada, and that's the organization that's having their annual meeting in Ottawa from the 11th to the 13th of May. And Community Foundations, Peterborough has one. Well, there are 190 some of these across the country that represent about more than 90% of Canadians. So they're all gathering in Ottawa. And Bill, being an advocate for us, I mean, he's a Peterborough lawyer and a longtime friend of the museum, said, wouldn't it be really cool to tell people at the conference about the canoe and the museum and the kinds of things we're doing? And so we said, sure. And Parks are on board as a partner. They've helped us. I mean, the canal's not actually open, but they're helping us with keys to washrooms, and they're doing a big night for us in Smith Falls. We're using local accommodations all the way along. So it's a bit less like a canoe trip and more like a floating conversation. Connected by Canoe is the kind of the idea. It's a nation of rivers, a river of nations. And what connects us to the rivers, what connects us to each other, what connects us to the corners of the land. The canoe in all its expressions, the kayak in the north, the umiak in the north, connects us to all of that. So it's got two bits. There's an express leg with one canoe, 16 people and people will be coming in and out from Kingston to Ottawa to Dallas Lake. And then on the morning of the 11th of May, it's called the ceremonial leg. It's actually a pre-conference activity for delegates from the conference. 30 delegates of the conference are going to come. We're going to drop 4 more canoes in the water. So on the water on Dallas Lake, Kevin, and on the 11th of May, we're going to have our Montreal canoe, classic voyageur, a couple more of those. We're also going to have our West Coast Spirit Dancer, the highest style.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's like a 12-meter boat. And we're also going to have our skin-on-frame umiak, and it's going to be partially peopled with kids from Nunavut, Siviniksavut in Ottawa, which is a Sejep from Nunavut. So we're going to have drummers and dancers and singers.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's going to be really fun.
Like, how do people get invited? Like, just they walk along the shore and wave at you, or?
Well, in each of the communities, depending on where we are, there are events. Some of them are more public than others. We've worked with the residents associations, the cottagers associations, the community foundations along the way. I mean, it's a small initiative to do this. Really, the way that people will engage this, if they're not sort of in Sealy's Bay, Westport, Perth, Smith Falls, Merrickville, Kemptville, Manotick, and Ottawa, if they're not already in the loop, we're really thinking of this as a kind of a content machine. We're going to be tweeting pictures. Go Iramoto, who did the amazing film work for Tourism Ontario, he's going to be with us for a good chunk of this, making a short film about Connected by Canoe. What we really want to do is say, look, Canada is at its 150th birthday, and not everybody in Canada is wanting to get excited about that, particularly our Indigenous people in Canada. So what we wanted to do was to use the canoe as an idea to some simple things, just to remind us we're all on the same boat. We've got funding from Community Foundations Canada, from various other organizations too, so we can pay for the food and accommodation. But people who are participating, and we've got a real variety of Indigenous, non-Indigenous, old, young on this, in return for hospitality and the experience, all I've said, would you please each bring one open-ended question about the future of Canada that you're prepared to explore in whatever ways make sense. So we might be sitting in a canoe together. It might be in an expanded conversation in the villages where we stop. But at the end of the trip, all I'm asking people to do is to submit an answer to their question, a written answer, which will become part of the flow of content out of the Connected by Canoe project as we move forward.
Someone's following this on social media as well, because you're going to be adding every day. Could they actually, in theory, pretend they're sitting in the canoe too and create a question?
I suppose they could. Who knows what happened? I mean, that's the beauty of social media. I mean, things get said and things get a little bit of traction along the way. We are hoping to engage people that way. I've had my head down just trying to make sure that we've got the number of people in the boat and that we're, from
Logistics,
A to B and getting the logistics sorted out. It seemed like a kind of a totally easy thing to do at the beginning, but it's now involving like 70 paddlers and all kinds of,
Well, like all canoe trips, it will happen.
Yeah, it will.
The bugs aren't out yet.
Well, that's the beauty of early May. It could be snowing or it could be 35 and buggy, and so I hope it's a bit of all of those.
That sounds fantastic. But you're always getting some great ideas for the Canoe Museum and getting the word out. And
yep.
Well, cheers to that.
Cheers. Yeah. Bourbon.
I don't like that.
Just before our board meeting. Perfect.
Well, professional.